Okay guys, check this bad boy out. You're looking at another cool and rare intake for the Boss 302 4V that was designed for and used in the Trans Am series. You're looking at another Budmore intake called the Mini-Plenum, used in the 69 to 70 Trans Am teams by Budmore. There may be two variants of this particular intake, made in cast alloy and in magnesium. And again, it's cast by Buddy Bar. If you have a good close look at it, it seems to have a single plane approach in appearance with them four outside runners like that traditionally. But you'll find that the middle four runners are of cross ram design. So you can see closely on the pics I've attached, there's a shared plenum, a mini plenum in this case, running on an angle across the top, complementing the slight offset in port locations you typically get between both sides. Okay, so you can see here the middle four runners are cross ram, just like the CrossBoss and even the Budmore Cleveland box plenum cross ram, but retains the four outer runners as normal that you'll find on a single plane runner layout. Seems to me they had a theory of trying to achieve an equal length runner system here, which really you don't get from a low-rise single plane intake. Usually the outers would be longer and the middle four would be short and a straight shot. So by doing the cross ram in the middle there, it seems like they achieved a more equal runner design that way. In saying that, the middle four still need to make a hard right and a U-turn to reach the port, whilst, the top outer four have more of a direct shot and flow. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Top plate houses a single four-barrel Holly carb, and again, that spread out angled plenum help flow in fuel from, the carb getting evenly across all runners, or at least they hoped, that's what the plan was, it seems. The Ford-backed Budmore built and ran Boss 302 Mustang teams in 69 all the way till the end of 70 in the Trans Am seasons, along with the second team campaigned by Shelby, but they were cut loose, I think, by Ford by 1970. In 1969, the Boss 302 came in short of a win, but in 1970, Budmore won 6 of the 11 races to take out the 70 Trans Am Championship, and that's cool and badass. Ford, as many of you guys will know, Ford bailed out by the late 70s from all Ford-backed motor racing, but Budmore was on a roll and continued on in the 71 Trans Am season as an independent. He won 3 races and come in second to the factory-backed American Motors Javelins. Now, that's a feat in its own right, I reckon. Okay, guys, let's step back a little to the late 40s. Budmore, the racer himself, was a badass racer, running a few races a week himself at, local tracks, and even competing in races in NASCAR at that time. Move forward a little, by 1961, he'd now started Budmore Engineering, with Pontiac-powered beasts taking out championships in 62 and 63 under Moore's belt. By late 63, Budmore had switched over to Ford's Mercury division to campaign for them. In 1967, Mercury asked Budmore to build and race Cougars in the new Trans Am series, what will be by then in 68, and would finish second in the championships behind Ford-backed Mustang. So that's another cool thing. Mercury bailed out in 1968 for Trans Am racing, so Budmore and his Cougars stepped into the NASCAR's Grand American Series and won the championship. So, that's a great way to occupy 1968 with them Cougars, I reckon. So yeah, guys, that's just a little bit of a wind-up leading up to the so popular and badass Ford Boss 302 4V days I mentioned a little earlier. And okay, so look, after Budmore finished up playing in Trans Am racing, as I mentioned before, he naturally returned back to NASCAR in 72 with the old mighty 351 Cleveland 4V. And in 72 to 73, you know, we're up against all the big blocks with this little Clevo that ran a Bud Moore intake, box plenum, cross ram, that I actually have and did a video of on that. So if you, you know, feel free to go back a little and you'll see a video of mine on that. And, you know, Bud Moore, I mean, he did all the testing, development, and the building of the small block Fords, you know, in Cleveland's. Definitely, you know, he was the master of horsepower, endurance, and reliability that these 4V-headed mules were. So in the 37 years involved in NASCAR, Moore had stacked up 63 wins, 43 pole positions, and 2 NASCAR Grand National Championships, not to mention all the Trans Am stuff, and eventually shutting and selling off in 1999. So, you know, I mean, that's just, you know, that's just a legend right there. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in.